From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, February the 6th, 2017. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met today with his British counterpart Theresa May in London. Before leaving Israel yesterday, Netanyahu said he would address several issues of concern with the British Prime Minister, including the Iranian threat. During the sit-down today, Netanyahu spoke of the common values between Israel and the UK and his hopes for cooperation against common threats, including Iran.
What you say is very true. There is a very strong bond between us. Behind my desk in the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem, I have two photographs, only two photographs. One is of Theodore Herzl, the founder of our national movement and our modern Moses, and the other is of Winston Churchill. And these two leaders personify our commitment to the values of freedom and our common civilization. These values create for us great opportunities. Our cooperation in trade and in technology I think makes our people more prosperous. Our cooperation in security, including cybersecurity, make our people safer. And I hope to have the opportunity to discuss how we can strengthen that cooperation to make our people still safer and still more prosperous.
May reiterated Britain's support for a two-state solution between Israel and the Palestinians. She also noted the centennial of the Balfour Declaration, in which the UK Foreign Ministry laid the groundwork for the establishment of the State of Israel.
Prime Minister, I'm very pleased to welcome you here to number 10 Downing Street, and particularly, obviously, in the year in which we recognise the 100th anniversary of the Balfour Declaration.
Indeed.
The UK remains a very strong and close friend of Israel. Lots of areas in which we already cooperate and work together, areas like science and trade, but also in other areas, security areas and others too. And I think there is much more that we can do together looking to the future, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about how we can build our relationship today, but also talk about some issues around the region, Syria and Iran, and the whole question of the future in the Middle East. And certainly we remain committed to a two-state solution. That's the best way of building stability and peace and prosperity for the future. But I look forward to discussing all these issues with you.
After the meeting with May, Netanyahu met with British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson and visited the room where then Foreign Secretary Arthur Balfour signed the historic declaration, which will mark its 100th anniversary later this year. And staying with the Prime Minister, Netanyahu responded from London to a rocket attack this morning on Israel. A rocket was fired at the coastal city of Ashkelon this morning from Gaza, setting off the code red alert in two towns in the regional council. The rocket landed in an open area and no injuries were caused. Netanyahu said during the state visit to the UK, "My policy is to respond strongly to any rocket fire. We are firm in this response." His remarks followed the IDF's response to the rocket fire, which included Israeli tanks hitting several Hamas terror targets in Gaza and Israel's Air Force striking several terror targets there as well. IDF spokesman Peter Lerner said the IDF will not tolerate rocket fire towards civilians and will continue to ensure security and stability in the region. And shortly after those strikes, Israeli troops came under gunfire near the border with Gaza. The IDF was investigating and warned Israeli farmers who live in the towns bordering the area to stay away. Israeli tanks also reportedly retaliated for that fire on the troops and once again hit the Hamas position where the gunfire emanated from. The Times of Israel reports that there are attempted negotiations taking place to try and get the remains of two IDF soldiers back from Hamas. Citing a senior Israeli defense official, the report says that Israel has conveyed to various international bodies that it would put measures into place to improve the economic situation in Gaza if Hamas returns the bodies of Hadar Golden and Oron Shaul, who were killed during Operation Protective Edge in 2014, as well as release 3 Israeli civilians that are reportedly also being held by the terror group. There was no sign from Hamas at the time of this report that they would agree to those terms. There have been a number of similar reports over the last year or so about such possible negotiations, but so far none have actually progressed. Well, police in Chicago are investigating anti-Semitic vandalism at one of its synagogues. Swastikas were discovered at the front entrance of the Loop Synagogue in the city, and one of the synagogue's glass windows was smashed. Police received a call just after midnight Friday night that there was criminal damage in progress, and surveillance video shows an individual getting out of an SUV and placing 2 swastika stickers on the front doors of the synagogue and smashing the window. Authorities are calling the attack a hate crime. The American Jewish Committee's Chicago office director Amy Stokin said the city's Jewish community would not be intimidated. Stokin said the right of all religious groups to practice their faith without fear is a fundamental American value. Chicagoans must speak together clearly that the hatred behind this destructive behavior will never be accepted. The Genesis Prize Foundation announced its recipient of the 2017 Genesis Prize. It is an artist and social activist, Anish Kapoor. Kapoor was born in Bombay. He moved to Israel as a teenager. His sculptures can be seen in Jerusalem, Chicago, and London. Chairman of the Jewish Agency, who is a partner on the prize, Natan Sharansky, said Kapoor has campaigned against indifference his whole life. His message is clear, powerful, and inspiring. Kapoor said upon the announcement of the honor that he will use the $1 million prize to help alleviate the Syrian refugee crisis and try to expand the Jewish community's engagement in a global effort to support refugees. The Genesis Prize recognizes individuals who have attained excellence and international renown in their fields and whose actions and achievements express a commitment to Jewish values, the Jewish community, and the State of Israel. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS from Monday, February the 6th. At 7 o'clock, it's the wisdom of Dr. Ruth Westheimer. At 7:30, the realities of fundraising are discussed at the Jewish Federation of North America's General Assembly. At 8, law professor at Northwestern University Eugene Kantorovich looks at the legality of Jewish settlements in the West Bank in a program of the Zionist Organization of America. At 9, a visit with residents of the West Bank community of Karnei Shomron. At 10, Jewish Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer discusses some of the controversial legal and social issues he has dealt with from the 92nd Street Y. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, Mark Golub speaks with Associate Editor of the Jewish Week of New York, Jonathan Mark, who talks about the different opinions of different Jewish groups regarding President Donald Trump on tonight's In the News. And that's the JBS News Update from Monday, February the 6th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.